So let's begin, shall we? So the Hammer of Dawn was first envisioned by Captain Adam Phoenix after the Battle of Ragani, where Phoenix discovered a need to create something in order to end the Pendulum Wars. It forced politicians to rethink their decisions. Adam would leave the army and join the Defense Research Agency in 17 years before Emergence Day as deputy head of Weapons Research Division. Adam hoped that he could create an orbital weapon that would end all wars. With his aid, the UIR worked on the Hammer of Dawn for 13 years until a scientist, Dr. Maris Evo, published an article in Engineering discussing how super pure crystals could help with satellite accuracy. This made Adam Phoenix realize that the UIR were in the weapons race for orbital satellites, and they were winning in the race. So since Adam Phoenix knew that he was losing the race, and he told the COG, the chairmen, the generals, the colonels, everyone, the high-end people, that they were losing the race. So they created a operation called Operation Leveler, so they can get it. So basically, with the fear of the URR winning the weapons race, while the COG's orbital satellite-based lasers were just blueprints and computer modules, Chairman Thomas Dale ordered General Jolin Ivor and Director of Special Forces Major Hoffman to find a way to steal or destroy the Indy satellite plans. The COG Army's 26 RTI Special Tactics Group were able to successfully steal the technology from the UIR, and Adam Phoenix would continue to reverse engineer the data and use it to create the Hammer of Dawn. And also a little information there. The Special Tactics 26 RTI Special Tactics Group, actually Dom Santiago was in that team with Major Hoffman, and Major Hoffman and Dom Santiago were in the room where they stole the plans. So we're gonna explain that little scene in another video, but let's continue. So once when Adam Phoenix actually created the Hammer of Dawn, it basically, they just told the UIR that they have a Hammer of Dawn, they have it online, and they can use it whenever they want to. So they basically, if you don't surrender, we're gonna do a hammer strike on you. So that what you're gonna do. So you have to surrender no matter what. So the UIR surrendered, and basically the COG won the Pendulum Wars, and that's when the Pendulum Wars ended. And that was a 79-year war, and you just needed one Hammer of Dawn, it would end that. Well, of course, because like I said before, it's more than a nuke. It does a lot more than a nuke, and yeah, it's like devastating. But it's all nice and everything, but there's drawbacks. The Hammer of Dawn could only be used if a targeting laser or a Hammer of Dawn mobile command center was able to paint a target with clear skies overhead. A large version of this targeting system was able to be built into the command center at Anvil Gate. The Locusts could successfully stop the hammer from being used with their seeders by having the Nemesis ink the skies. The design of the Hammer of Dawn was originally meant for a backup plan, but later become a tactical weapon. By 15 years after Emergence Day, the Hammer of Dawn satellites began breaking down and malfunctioning due to lack of maintenance, for obvious reasons, because you can't really go back in space and fix that satellite. I was like, alright guys, we're going down, and basically there's like a world war going on down there fighting for humanity, so there's like no time to like go up in space and fix that. Then it did an error code of accuracy, and the overall like systems wasn't reliable. So if you have that Hammer of Dawn aiming in like at a building, and with these malfunctioning problems happening, you can aim at another building even though you're pointing straight at that building. So it's like, it's a yay or nay when it comes to using it, because if you're gonna use it, expect to like not hit with something. So here's like a quick video of Hoffman and Baird getting like frowny faces because the Hammer of Dawn wouldn't work for them at that time.
Shame about the hammer. It's just what we need.
Goddamn thing. It still triggers a few satellites, but forget about accuracy.
Maybe I can fix that.
Baird, here's the disc. Amazing.
So you guys have it. There you go. That they were pretty bummed out that they couldn't get it work. But you know, like always, Baird always fixes everything. So that's how he is. I don't know how he knows this stuff. He's pretty smart, and Barrett is like a very hidden character. They didn't really explain him well. Don't even say Judgment explained him well, because it's just him being a lieutenant, but they didn't explain his background story like Marcus, like Dom, like Cole. Like they had actually background stories, but for some reason Barrett was hidden in the dust. But anyways, for 1 year the COG battled the Locust Horde, losing ground and more lives, until Richard Prescott was elected chairman after Thomas passed away from a heart attack. That's pretty bad. Prescott tried to organizing a counterattack, but failed, with every single head of state refusing to sacrifice their homelands to save the human race. So Prescott fell onto the last option, using the Hammer of Dawn on all Sierra that the Locust had occupied, with objections from Adam Phoenix and his staff. Prescott won the debate and ordered the Hammer of Dawn to be used on all Locust-controlled cities. There was a 3-day evacuation for Sierra to go to Jacinto until the Hammer of Dawn was deployed. So you're basically, what we're seeing now is, for example, okay, so you have the whole Sierra, the whole, like, basically Earth. So you have to go to Washington D.C. But what happened if you're in China or in Europe? You have to travel from Europe to Washington D.C. in 3 days. If not, you will die by the Hammer of Dawn. So yeah, it's a pretty big like decision there. 3 days for the whole world to go to one city that they're not gonna aim at. So there could be refuge. So yeah, it was a pretty big deal, and that's why there was a pretty big debate. While it was normally the tactical officer's job to fire the weapon, Prescott decided to take the burden. It was a big burden, very big, upon himself, and personally pressed the 2 buttons that fired the Hammer of Dawn. The Hammer of Dawn, okay, so watch this, burned 90% of Sierra and killed billions of humans and untold numbers of locusts on the surface, as well as leveling dozens of cities, killing plant and animal life. So it's a total annihilation. That's what I meant about it's small, it's big compared to a teeny puny nuke bomb. The survivors of the Hammer of Dawn strikes abandoned the COG and began to call themselves stranded, thinking they had been abandoned and left for dead. The entire planet fell into severe environmental problems in the aftermath of the attack due to firestorms that swept across landscapes. So that's a pretty devastation, like, annihilation of the whole world with just the Hammer of Dawn they used. So it was a pretty giant, like, thing. The stranded are basically like civilians in a way, but they hate the COG for calling that. So think of, you're just a normal civilian, and then the government orders you like a 3-day warning. You have to come to Washington D.C. If not, you will be burned alive and destroyed. And if you survived it, you'll be pretty mad at them. So that's what the stranded was. The stranded did not like the COG, and they did not want to do nothing to them. So here's gonna be a quick video of the stranded not liking the COG.
Great view from up here, COG. You can see the mess he made of the city. Folks around here haven't forgotten the hammer strikes.
See by his voice, they call him the Ashman. They didn't really have a really good name to him, but they called him the Ashman. You could hear him saying that no one forgot about the hammer strikes. So you can see how they took it personally. And this was like, I think it was Gears of War 3, I think it was 14 years after Emergence Day. So it was 14 years that they took a grudge on it. That's a pretty big grudge. In the aftermath of the Hammer Dawn strike on Sierra, the air was filthy and clogged with debris for weeks. It took 5 days for enough of the debris to settle for sunlight to filter through. Forests were burned, and exploding chemical plants seeded massive pollution into the ground and air that would linger for decades, if not centuries. All of the locusts on the surface were presumably dead, but the ones underground, of course, they naturally survived because they are underground, so they are hidden. The ultimate effect of the Hammer Dawn strike was the creation of an area called the Char, which the Ashman was in Char. This is where we're going at. A vast landscape where human bodies were still intact from the fires that had fired them, like more than statues of solidified ash. So this is going to be another quick video about the hammer strike and when it hit Char. You can see these people burned alive and they're trying to run away. So here, take a quick look at this video. It's pretty emotional, if you can say. Not as emotional as Dom dying, which I'm gonna cover that, but pretty bad. So here, take a quick look, guys.
Oh God, they're people.
Yeah, ugh, it's kind of creepy. It's like this is what they were doing when the hammer strikes hit.
It's all that's left of them. Ash.
Shit, man, look at them. They were running for their lives.
And they've lasted all these years.
Yeah. It's a mass grave, people. Let's show what respect we can.
So there you guys have it. That you see these Ash people just hugging each other and running away. Like Jay said, they're running for their lives. So it was a pretty, you can feel like how everyone was so scared, and they know they were gonna die because they saw a giant laser coming from the sky and coming down and burning them all. So it was a pretty like I said, it was a pretty like big deal on killing billions of people, but you had to save the planet, but they didn't really save it. They just they helped out the Locust even more. Technically, they basically killed more humans than Locusts. So it was a pretty bad call for Prescott. So sorry for the length of the video, guys. It was just so much information that I had to cover. So I hope you guys had popcorn during the time when I was making this video. This is going to be the longest video I'm going to cover for sure, because the Hammer-Dawn had so much information. I just completely forgot the information it can hold. I also added Stranded into this videos because it didn't really get mentioned. They didn't have that much information. It was just a bunch of people that just didn't like COG, and that was it. So that's why I added in it. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys found this video very informative. If you guys liked this video, hit a like and subscribe to it. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later.